My name's Shakimra and I'm 46 years old. I was diagnosed with SLE lupus 4 and a bit years ago. I actually have had lupus apparently all my life. It's just been gradually building up over the years. But the actual diagnosis through a blood test was 4.5 years ago. It's affected my life very dramatically. I was a musician and I was recording and performing and having a wonderful time, but now I can't hold my flute up and my muscles are just too weak to hold up a flute. Well, lupus is an autoimmune disease, so the body starts to attack itself and its own organs. So I've had to go through losing half my spleen and I've lost my gallbladder, just general deterioration in the rest of my organs. Probably the most dangerous things that have happened are clinical anorexia, because I just got a normal average everyday virus. It went on and on for 6 months, so I was nauseous all the time and I basically lost weight until I got to 39 kilograms and they threw me in hospital and shoved a pipe down my nose, a tube down my nose to feed me, and that was all pretty horrific. The tube was a case of putting Vaseline on this seemingly enormous tube and shoving it so it slipped down and around down my throat. That was extremely painful, but there's no other way they could do it. They can't knock you out because you have to actually swallow it as it's going down the back of your throat. So it was scraping all the way down. It was just horrific. So basically my whole body is deteriorating. So my skin is affected by the sunlight, and I get these blisters all over me. Yeah, I'm allergic to the sun, which is really ridiculous. But it actually affects not only the skin and the way I look, but it then starts to deteriorate the internal organs, which isn't good. I keep active as I can by taking the dog for a little walk every day and doing some exercise in my chair, and just getting around the house is painful enough as it is. I have to take about 15 tablets a day. I've got 3 for the heart, another one for making sure my blood doesn't clot and I don't end up with a heart attack. Then there's, most importantly, the cortisone, which is basically an anti-inflammatory, keeping my body going, and yeah, a few things like that.
It came on when I was going into my teens, and so I was about 13, 14, and at that point, as a normal teenage kid, you sort of branch out from your parents and you don't want to have, you have time, you want to meet friends and you want to have more time with your friends rather than your parents. So at the time, I was sort of unaware. Me and my sister were we were sort of unaware of how serious the disease was, and it's only been in the last couple of years that it's really come as a shock of how bad her disease is. At first, going through terrible teens, as you could say, taking on the responsibility of doing all of the things that a mum sort of does, like housework and laundry and stuff. It wasn't, I mean, we did fight a lot because me and my sister had to do a lot around the house, and then because when I did want to form a stronger relationship with her again at the age of about 17, going through grade 12, I sort of turned to anger instead of sympathy and love towards her, because I just wanted to have a mum that I could talk to, go to the movies with, hang out with, go outdoors with, do all the normal things that a daughter should be able to do with a mother. And I couldn't do that with her, and it was hard to even relate with her. Oh, what did you do today? Oh, nothing, it was really hard because, but at the same time, what I've had to do is just block out. You kind of just try not to think about it. It's really hard. It got to a point where me and my sister just did not have a relationship with her. We just turned away from her because that was just the only way we could cope. I was just really angry all the time because I just wanted to have a mum, but she was always sick. So it's only been the last year that we've formed a closer relationship. And when she was going in and out of hospital, that was just when it was her lowest point, when she was weighing like 38 kilograms. It was so hard. I was just so depressed. But yeah, we've formed a really close friendship again, which is really good. It's hard to say what it would be like if she'd never gotten the disease. Family's a big thing to me. I love having family times growing up. Our family was just tight-knit, closest family, absolutely love them. And not having her around, I mean, I guess it's just hard, but I'm just used to it because that's what I'm used to. Yeah. She has been so positive, and I don't know how she does it. If it was me, I couldn't have stayed as positive as she has. And she is the most amazing person, and she is so brave, and yeah, she's coping very well.
I met Shakimra back in 1998. We met in a recording studio. I was producing a television commercial, a jingle, and we got her in to play flute on the jingle. And I thought she was pretty hot, and we chatted, we hit it off, and I found myself looking forward to the next time I would see her. When we were married, around that time, she was just magnificent. She was stunning, she was talented, very creative, full of life. I couldn't have imagined that she would be struck down by something like lupus. But it's the person that I fell in love with, and that person is still alive in there. She's still really the same person. What I loved about her back then was she always had a smile on her face, and somehow through all this she still manages to smile. So yeah, she's still the same person. But it's very unfortunate how these things happen to strike the nicest people. I think I've changed to become more patient and a better listener. At the start, I was in denial. I really didn't want it to be happening. So I guess I was about 6 months behind where she actually was with her disease. I think now I've finally caught up to where she is and I'm aware of what's going on. But there was a long period there that I didn't want to know. I had to know, but I didn't want to believe that it was all happening because that was all too scary. But eventually you learn to take these things on board and move with it. You have no choice. Every time Shakey's gone into hospital, I always fear that, this is it. This is the end. But she always manages to rally and to come back. And she's a battler. And although it's hard every time, hopefully there might come a day when she doesn't have to go into hospital anymore and she comes out the other side of this thing. When she had to get the nasogastric tube, that's a tube down the nose to feed her, it was quite horrific to watch that going in, and it hurt her a lot. She was screaming in pain. I was a wimp. I just had to walk out and leave them to it. I walked down the hallway to where I couldn't hear her screaming because it really upset me. To go through what she's gone through, not knowing what the future holds, is incredibly brave. Like every day sometimes is worse than the last day, and put it simply, she was this amazing concert flautist and now she can't even hold a flute. Spends her days in a chair. That's got to be hard to deal with. But she manages to still find a little bit of joy in every day. We still have fun together. She's still my soulmate. We still love each other, enjoy each other's company. So yeah, she has been very brave and she's done a lot better than I would, that's for sure.
I think it's got a lot to do with attitude. Have to appreciate life and appreciate having your family and friends, and just to accept that you may not be around tomorrow, but as long as you've lived today as well as you can, that's important. And laughter, even laughing at the disease itself, and there's more. Brett calling me a pill popper, and I have learnt to respect my life and appreciate my life, and be very philosophical about my life, so I have plenty of time to think about it.